Many consider streaming to be an ideal dream job. You get paid to play video games all day long? Yes, please. But if you want to deliver quality content, you'll need more than just math skills and charisma. The technical side of streaming plays just as crucial a role in the overall experience on the viewer's end. For example, you'll need a quality webcam in order to deliver a truly personalized experience. But we've already talked about webcams, so do check that video out if you're interested. But in today's video, we want to talk about capture cards. What are capture cards? Well, they're basically peripherals that record video footage with often some additional quality of life features thrown into the mix. Most importantly, they handle the strain that streaming would otherwise impose on hardware. So while they're handy for PC streaming, they're simply indispensable for console streaming. If you have any aspirations to stream your favorite console exclusives, then a good capture card is a must. So without any further ado, let's look at the best capture cards available in 2019. Kicking off this list, we have the Elgato Game Capture HD60S. Elgato is a renowned German company that boasts a wide array of excellent electronics and software. The HD60S is one of their best external capture cards, so we're already off to a good start. The HD60S takes the form of an inconspicuous black box that can be connected to the PC via a USB cable and to the TV via an HDMI cable. It offers great video quality, recording footage in 1080p at 60 FPS and a maximum bitrate of 40 megabits per second, no less. As we've said, it uses a USB cable to connect to the PC, and it thankfully uses USB 3.0 technology to offer a high transfer speed with minimal latency that's well suited for live streaming. And speaking of live streaming, the HD60S comes with built-in YouTube and Twitch streaming capabilities. It can even capture your voice on the go so that you don't have to go through the hassle of manually adding it later. Overall, it's a great external capture card that makes live streaming from your console easier than it's ever been. The only thing that's kind of a downer is that the stock software it uses doesn't have enough editing options to satisfy a true professional. Next up, we have the HDML-Cloner Box Pro. Now, Cloner Alliance is a bit of a newcomer in the market, having only been founded in 2014, but they've already established themselves quite a reputation to which the Pro capture card can testify. This sleek-looking capture card is actually capable of processing 4K video input and downscaling it to 1080p without even needing to be connected to the PC. Plus, it uses H.264 encoding to make sure that the footage retains all its high quality. It offers instant video playback of the footage it records, and it can record to both USB flash drives and hard drives. Its range of features also includes an all-around digital video converter, scheduled recording, and the option for live streaming with commentary, as the Pro can record your voice in real time. So the only thing it has going against it is the fact that the Pro actually isn't a gaming-oriented capture card. It was made to cater to casual audiences, and despite the plentiful features, this is made evident by the USB 2.0 interface that's best avoided if you have high live streaming requirements. Also, the rudimentary editing software is capable of little more than trimming or splitting videos. For our third entry, we give you the Hauppauge Colossus 2. Like many peripherals that connect directly to your motherboard via a PCI Express slot, that Colossus 2 isn't much to look at, but its functionality more than makes up for this. In particular, this is one of the most versatile sound cards in terms of connectivity, as it boasts all of the following: one HDMI output, one HDMI input, a component video input, SPDIF optical audio input, a microphone input, and an IR receiver input-output port. Saying it aloud really helps drive home just how all-encompassing this connectivity is. As for the video, the Colossus 2 can record footage in 1080p with a frame rate of 30 FPS. The 30 FPS may seem a bit underwhelming, but if you need a capture card for a console, then this will be just fine in most cases, as not all console titles support the full 60 FPS. What's way more important is the use of H.264 Video Encore that will ensure the video you record is well compressed without compromising much in terms of quality. Additionally, the Stream Ease software that comes with this card makes live streaming on Twitch, YouTube, and Ustream a breeze. It may not have the extensive features of some other programs, but it gets the job done. So the only downside of this product we can name would be the limited physical compatibility that all PCI Express cards have. This means that if you prefer using a laptop to process your videos, you may want to look elsewhere. But otherwise, the Colossus 2 leaves very little to be desired if the specs work for you. Now, the inclusion of this next card in this list may be somewhat controversial, but we have our reasons. Pyle PVRC43 is definitely a budget capture card, but it has its merits, and more importantly, we feel that it can cater to a specific niche. Okay, enough beating around the bush. Why is this controversial? Well, it uses an analog AVRCA cable as a primary means of connection, and therefore has a maximum video resolution of 480p. Now, this is truly an atrocious resolution for most, if not all, professional streamers and content creators. There's just no getting around that. But we feel that it can work especially well if you want to stream games from older consoles. The PlayStation 2, for example, has a whole slew of video game classics that would merit some views, especially if you do speedruns. And that's just one of the many consoles that use the olden AVRCA cable. So yeah, streaming the latest AAA title in 480p is not a good idea. But streaming games that were made for this resolution can be a great idea. This capture card also has the benefit of being a standalone card, meaning it doesn't need to be connected to a computer in order to work, as it stores all footage on a microSD memory card, and it's wholly plug-and-play compatible. So if we look at the SD video quality not as a downside, but as a feature, then the only shortcoming of the PRVC43 is not coming with an HDMI adapter. You'll have to purchase that separately. And now for something a bit more standard. We have the AVerMedia Live Gamer Extreme. This name isn't an exaggeration by any means, as the Live Gamer Extreme is one of the few capture cards that can record uncompressed 1080p video at 60 FPS. So if only the highest quality gameplay footage will suffice, then this is an apt choice. It connects using a USB 3.0 cable, so you don't have to worry about the latency. Also, it features the audio mix-in that'll let you add music to your live stream on the fly. Plus, the two 3.5mm microphone jacks on the front of the card make live commentary a breeze. This may have been a substantially shorter overview than of the previous models, but there really isn't that much to say here. The Live Gamer Extreme is good, and it lives up to the name. The RA Central 2 software it comes with is even more powerful and versatile than many others mentioned in this video, although it's still no substitute for a proper editing program. Just know that this capture card is only compatible with Windows, so if you're a Linux or a Mac user, tough luck. And next up, we have another high-performing solution for you. This time, it's the Elgato Game Capture HD60 Pro, the more powerful version of the already good HD60S. As expected, these two cards share many features, but there are also some key differences. For starters, the HD60 Pro is an internal capture card, meaning it connects directly to the motherboard via a PCI Express slot, although unlike many internal cards, this one is pretty easy on the eyes. Like the HD60S, it records video in 1080p resolution at 60 frames per second, but this time with a higher maximum bitrate of 60 megabits per second. And it uses an integrated H.264 chip for optimal compression that records video with next to no loss in quality. In addition to this, the HD60 Pro lets you add video overlays, webcam feeds, and live commentary to your stream whenever you see fit. Again, it appears like the best solutions are the ones we spend the least time on, and there really is nothing else we can do but praise the phenomenal customization options and great video recording. Just beware that the HD60 Pro has narrower compatibility than most internal PCI Express slots. In addition to the physical limitation that the PCI Express cards have, this one is only compatible with Windows 10. So if you use any other operating system, even just an older version of Windows, then you'll have to settle for something else. AVerMedia Live Gamer HD2 is arguably the best looking capture card in this video, which is even more impressive seeing how it's an internal capture card. Still, its intricate metal exterior with many triangular holes from which a blue LED light erupts is a wonder to behold. For better or for worse, nothing says gamer quite like pretty lights. Only the last entry can measure up to it, and even then, it comes down to preference. What's more, the inside is just as impressive as the outside. Like all other high-end cards, the Live Gamer HD2 can record videos in 1080p at 60 FPS. More importantly, it comes with all the plug-and-play convenience of the Pyle PVRC43, so if you don't want to bother with drivers and their pesky feuds, then this is the capture card for you. It'll be good to go the moment you install it. Now, the previous AVerMedia entry, the Live Gamer Extreme, was one of the few cards that came with a really remarkable piece of software. Again, the RE Central 2 is no substitute for professional software, but it does give you plenty of options. The Live Gamer HD2, however, is even better off in this regard because it comes with RE Central 3 that can easily be integrated into said professional programs like XSplit and OBS via plugins. This means that you can edit and customize your videos on the fly like never before. Once again though, this card is exclusive to Windows users, only this one supports versions Windows 8 and up. Now, we've just finished off with a gorgeous looking capture card, and we've already established that the ultimate will be just as good looking. So how do we fill the space in between? Why, with one of the most poorly designed capture cards on this list. That's how. The Roxio Game Capture HD Pro is thankfully not a pro solution, despite what the name says. And thank goodness it's a budget card, because as far as the exterior design is concerned, this external card is just an absolute mess. The actual build is made of cheap filling plastic and is rather flimsy, but more so than this, we were put off by the quote-unquote aesthetics on this thing. There is nothing cohesive about the haphazardly oriented arrows whatsoever, and it all comes across as a jumbled mess. Still, the Game Capture HD Pro does have some redeeming values. It did make the list after all. For starters, it's very compact and portable, and it uses H.264 encoding, which is a welcome feature in any card. And while the recording quality isn't quite up to snuff with most of the models in this video, at 1080p resolution at 30 FPS is still very respectable when it comes to console gaming. It also features a grand total of 10 RCA connectors, as it was released near the end of the previous console generation. This isn't something that all of you will use, but it is nice to have. So if you favor function over form, like a lot of us, and you're fine with this level of performance, then there are a few capture cards as cost-effective as this Roxio model. Just know that it really isn't suitable for live streaming, as it does rely on the USB 2.0 interface. And last, but most certainly not least, we have the Elgato Game Capture 4K 60 Pro. And just like the name suggests, this capture card is capable of recording footage in 4K resolutions at 60 frames per second with a bitrate of no fewer than 140 megabits per second. It only has two ports, one HDMI in and one HDMI out, which is more than reasonable seeing as this is a capture card made particularly for gamers, and current gen consoles only use HDMI. Like we've hinted, this is a beautiful looking card with a patterned exterior and even its very own heatsink. If you've got an open case, this card will not clash with any of the setup. Also, it should come as no surprise that the 4K 60 Pro is compatible with the recent console revisions that were made to handle 4K resolutions. So if you want to stream from a PS4 Pro or an Xbox One X, well, now you can. Granted, not many console games can actually make use of the 60 FPS this card records in, but still, just being able to capture footage in that resolution is phenomenal. You'll just need this capture card that costs about as much as the slim versions of both of these consoles. As for the downsides of this capture card, it really doesn't have any in and of itself, but know that the entry price for streaming in 4K is astronomically high, and not only because you'll need one of these 4K ready consoles and this very expensive card, but also the PC hardware powerful enough to handle 4K video processing. Now all that's left is to choose the right capture card for you, and here to help you are a few quick tips. Firstly, decide on whether you need an internal or an external card. Internal cards are still the fastest ones around, but USB 3.0 doesn't lag too far behind. So as long as you don't get a card that relies on USB 2.0 interface, you don't really need to worry about any latency issues while live streaming. Instead, choose whichever one is more convenient. Secondly, make sure to test your internet connection. You can do this at speedtest.net to find out just just how fast your connection is. Why is this important, you ask? Well, you'll need a connection speed of 8 megabits per second if you want to stream videos in 1080p. 720p takes 5 megabits per second, 480p takes 3, although we don't recommend this in the majority of cases, and 4K will take a connection of 25 megabits per second. So even if you do have a 4K console and a high-end PC, you won't get the most out of a card like the 4K Pro unless your internet connection is also up to snuff. And finally, keep in mind that while capture cards are absolutely essential for console streaming, they're also very handy to have when you're streaming games from your PC, as they can help take the strain off of your hardware. Without capture cards, you can expect to see some major FPS dips when you start streaming. And that about does it for this video. We hope you've enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you did. It was a bit longer than usual, but we wanted to give you a wide breadth of options for all price ranges and resolutions so that you can pursue this wonderful occupation properly. New videos will be up shortly, so stay tuned. And in the meantime, may your games be fun and your losses few. And as always, we'll see you next time on Gaming Scan.